that's going to lead us to victory this November. This is where it all begins. This is what it's all about, folks. So thank you all for being here. Let me just start out by doing a little poll here. How many of you here believe that you have a better opportunity to achieve the American dream than your parents or grandparents did? Everybody? How many of you believe that if we continue on the path that we're on today, with the huge expansion of the federal government, with the spending that's going on, out of control in Washington, how many of you believe that your children, grandchildren, are going to have more opportunities than you do, than you've had? None of you. And that's exactly what this election is all about, folks. We have got to change who is in the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We have got to have a new president. We've got If you're concerned about this president today, think of what will happen if he doesn't have to answer to voters again for 4 years. Think about what will happen with the bureaucracy and the intrusion of the federal government in each of our lives. I think that there is in everyone's stomach today, in everyone's heart today, they feel and believe that our very liberties, our freedoms are at stake. That we cannot continue on this path that we're on. And it's not just certainly in the White House. In this congressional race, I will tell you folks, we will have the clearest choice that you've ever had to vote on. And there are two very distinct ideas of the role of the federal government. My opponent believes that you need more Washington. Washington knows everything right and you don't know anything. That the bigger the government, the better. We all understand that the bigger the government is, the smaller the citizen is. And that's why this is such a critical race. Let me just give you some examples. Remember back with the TARP vote where we bailed out of Wall Street? Yeah. Mr. Boswell spent $700 billion, just gave it to an unelected bureaucrat to spend as he saw fit. I bucked my own president, my own leadership, and voted no, because it's wrong to give that kind of money to any unelected, to any bureaucrat. When you look at the stimulus bill that the president said, if you pass this, unemployment won't go above 8%. It's been above 8% ever since then. Mr. Boswell joined with Nancy Pelosi and voted for that failed stimulus that's going to cost our kids and grandchildren over $1 trillion. I voted no, because it's wrong. When you look at the cap and trade, which is a big government takeover of our energy industry, which according to American Energy would increase your utility cost 20 to 25%, put 50 cents a gallon more on gasoline. Mr. Boswell voted with Nancy Pelosi. I voted no, because we've got to have an energy policy that understands that we have got to go after our resources we have in such abundance here and do it in a way that the free market will actually bring down the price of energy in this country. And certainly, when you look at does anybody remember the health care bill that was passed? That the presidents, talked about? Remember Nancy Pelosi standing there and saying, we'll have to pass the bill to understand what's in the bill? Remember that? So what happened was this government takeover. Mr. Boswell joined with Nancy Pelosi in a bill that none of them knew what was in it. We're seeing the consequences now, about $1.5 trillion more cost to the federal government. It's going to limit choices, what we have as far as health care. It's going to limit access to our physicians and to our health care providers. Mr. Boswell joined in with Nancy Pelosi and voted for that very failed bill. And we're all hopeful the Supreme Court throws the whole thing out. But as a matter of principle, we have to understand that when I voted no, I meant it, because we've got to get rid of the health care bill. We've got to repeal it for the sake of our country, for the sake of our future. That is extraordinary. The reason I'm running again is because I have 5 grandchildren. We were blessed with another grandson in January 4th. It breaks my heart to look at that baby, hold that baby, and understand that when that child took its first breath, it was $50,000 in debt. That its future, the American dream, was going to be limited for that child because of the policies coming out of Washington. I think that's why you're here today, too, because you understand that this is an absolutely critical election for the future of this country. We don't have another 4 or 5 years to do the right thing. We've got to do the right thing immediately. That's why we've got to change the White House. That's why we've got to take the Senate, and why we've got to maintain our majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. You guys don't have to stand up yet. But let me just say, that's what this election is all about. With your help, and because of all the great response that we've had, we will win this congressional seat this fall. I can assure you, we've got to make sure that Iowa votes for a Republican presidential candidate, whoever that may be, because this is about the future of this country and about your kids and your grandchildren. Thank you all.